Here's what no one talks about when it comes to men over 50 and saying no. Most of us were raised to handle things, to be the provider, to not complain, to keep the peace. So we learn early that saying no out loud creates conflict. It disappoints people. It makes you look selfish or weak. So instead of saying no, we found other ways to say it. And those indirect no's have been quietly draining our self respect, our relationship, and our identity for decades. I'm going to name 5 of them, not to judge, but because naming is the first step to changing it. If you see yourself even in one of these, stay until to the end. There's a simple reset I want to give you. The first way men say no without saying it is the eternal, I'll look into it. Someone asks you to commit to something, a project, a plan, a trip, something you do not want to do. But instead of saying no, you say, let me get back to you on that. And you never do. That feels safer in the moment. No conflict, no disappointment. But what it actually does, it trains people around you to not trust your word. If you say you'll think about it and you never come back to it with a real answer, people stop counting on you. Not because they respect your time, because they know you're not going to follow through. Brother, that's not peace. That's erosion. The second way is suddenly a full calendar. Something comes up and you don't want to do it. And immediately you're booked solid. Now, sometimes you are genuinely busy. That's real. But if you're honest with yourself, you know the difference between being busy and making yourself busy so you don't have to say no. I had someone in my life who called whenever they needed a favor, and every single time I had something going on, mysteriously unavailable. The truth, I just didn't want to help, but never said that. I just kept evading the conflict. And what happens over time is that people stop seeing you as someone who makes choices. They start seeing you as someone who always is at the mercy of circumstances. You lose authority quietly over the years. Before I get into the third one, I want to pause right here. Which one of these is your default move so far? Drop a number in the comments below. Just type 1 or 2. I read every single one. The third way is saying yes when you mean no, and then letting it quietly disappear. Someone asks you to help, to commit, to show up, and you say, sure, I'll take care of that. And then you don't. Not dramatically, not with a blow up. You just let it fade. In your head, you're being agreeable, flexible, low drama. But when you're actually doing is teaching people that your word doesn't mean much. And here's what that does to your confidence over time. You start feeling like you don't trust yourself either because you know you made a commitment you never intend to keep. That feeling keeps compounding every single time. The fourth way is using frustration to make people stop asking you. You don't say no, you just get a little sharp, a little short. Maybe you sigh heavily. Maybe you say something like, why does this always fall on me? The other person backs off. The request goes away. And technically, you never said no. But what you said without words is this: asking me for things is risky and it might set me off. So people learn to stop bringing things to you, not because they respect your boundaries, because they're afraid of your reaction. That's not setting boundaries. That's not setting limits, brother. That's building a wall, and walls keep people out on both sides. The fifth way is one most men don't even recognize in themselves. It's removing yourself from the situation before anyone can ask your request. You stop going to certain gatherings. You come home late constantly. You stay at the office. You keep your headphones in. But not because you're tired, but because if you're not present, no one can ask you to do something you don't want to do. It's the most effective no there is. You never have to say it because no one gets close enough to make the request. But the cost is massive because you're also removing yourself from the connection you actually want. You trade your belongings for protection. I call it the ghost phase. You're technically there, but you're not really present. Here's why it matters. Each of these 5 patterns does the same thing. They protect you from the moment of discomfort. They charge you interest for years. Over time, they cost you your word. People stop counting on you because your yes don't mean yes and your no's never get spoken. Your self-respect. Every time you don't say what you actually mean, some part of you knows it. Your leadership at home. When you can't say it a clear no, you can't say a clear yes either. Your family stops looking to you for directions. Your identity. When you spend decades not saying what you actually want, you stop knowing what you want. That's the slow drain. Not one big event, just years of small surrenders. The good news, it's fixable. Here's the shift. When someone asks you something and you feel that familiar pull to say, I'll think about it, stop. Say this instead. Give me 24 hours and I'll give you a real answer. Not a vague maybe, a commitment to a real response within 24 hours. Then, in those 24 hours, ask yourself one honest question. Is this a yes or a no? If it's a no, say it simple. I won't be able to do that, but I appreciate you asking. That's it. No explanation, no apology tour, no excuse list. Just a clear feels uncomfortable. The second time, it's easier. But the 10th time, you'll notice something shifts. People start taking your word more seriously, not less. Because a man who says no when he means no can be trusted when he says yes. That's confidence. Not loud, just clear. If this hits close to home, type the word reset in the comments. I'll send you a simple framework that goes deeper into this. If you know a man who needs to hear this, share it with them. And for more rebuilding confidence and the directions after 50, the next video is right here. Bye for now.